police them are running in. We pulling weight, but we know the dream. Oh. We on point, oh boy. We're balling international. No time, baby. You got to know we are the.
Hello. I'm that original Naija chick. I make lifestyle straight talking videos and any other video that interests me, including food recipes, reviews, and hauls. If you are a regular schmegular subscriber of mine, I see that you guys have been watching my videos. Thank you for supporting me and staying with me. And if you're just coming across this video and you're new to this channel, please subscribe, please stay, like this video, comment on this video. And you can see I'm fresh faced doing my makeup alongside this story I'm going to tell you. Hearing of such stories, but we haven't like seen, you know, a story that has gone all the way to prosecution level and to the criminals getting nabbed and paying for their crimes. This particular story had like, it was like there was a film adapted to it. It's called Mother at Prime Suits. That's the name of the movie adapted to this story. This story is exciting to tell and is also sad at the same time. So stick with me while I tell you this story. Brush it up. Just that's what I do. My makeup is minimal. Disclaimer: I'm not a makeup artist, neither am I into makeup. I rarely wear makeup because I break out easily, so I'm very minimal with my makeup and how I do it. Now this story is about late Miss Cynthia Okogosu. Cynthia was born, this is a primer, it's a MAC Prep and Prime. Cynthia was born on November 8, 1987, to a family of 4. She was the youngest of 4 children. She had 3 brothers. Yeah, she had just 3 elder brothers. The father was late retired Major General, so he was well-to-do. Yeah, and the brothers were actually okay, as one was a flight lieutenant. The other one lived in Greece, and the other one was like a superintendent in customs. So background of late Miss Cynthia. Now late Miss Cynthia, she was quite industrious, really. She was only 24. She had finished education in Nasarawa State University, where she studied English language. I'm going to use NC50 and Revlon Color Stay in Caramel. Now being 24, she's achieved quite a lot. She had finished her bachelor's in Nasarawa State University, where she studied English, and she was also pursuing a master's degree in that same university. So when she was done with school, she started working as a model, a fashion model for clothing, and also she worked for a telecoms company. And yeah, and she also had a boutique called Dress Code, where they sell retail fashion wares. These items were mostly shipped from the US or Lagos. Lagos is like the commercial center of Nigeria, where things are gotten and sold across all states. So it made sense why she went to Lagos to get goods. And now she was quite active on Facebook. You know, that's where she like marketed her goods for sale. Of course, she's going to get like a lot of people who might be interested in buying her stuff. So she was quite liberal at accepting friend requests because it was more or less like a business page on Facebook. That was when she met these 2 guys. One was Ezike and one was Echezona. Now these people were brothers. They were practically cousins. She befriended them on Facebook, and they offered to sell her stuff from Lagos for cheap, and they also offered to, you know, introduce her to a lot of people who were going to help her, shipping products. according to the story. So they arranged for a time to meet. July 21st, 2012 was the day they agreed to meet. So Cynthia flew from Abuja. I don't know if she lived at Abuja at that time or she had a connecting flight from Abuja because I know that she's, I didn't tell you guys, she's from Delta State, Agbo City to be precise. No, but the family lived in the north and they grew up in the northern part of Nigeria. So what I don't know is if she lived in the north at that time and she maybe lived in Nasarawa at that time and took a connecting flight probably from Abuja to Lagos. That I don't know, but I know she came from Abuja to Lagos. So when she got there, she was hosted by Ejike and Echezona. So they lodged into a hotel, and the next day, one of the guy was about to leave the hotel when the receptionist, accustomed him and told him and asked him if they were going to renew the room they were staying at, and he said yes. That actually he was going to the ATM to withdraw money. So according to the receptionist and CCTV camera, it was noticed that the two men left the hotel together. One was at the bar, and when he saw the other one come out, he left with him. So at about 3 o'clock that same day, the receptionist got a call from one of the guys, and he told her to get that idiot out of the room, that he's no longer coming back, to renew the hotel bills for another day. So what the receptionist did was to call the room. Nobody picked up. She called several times, nobody picked up. So she informed her supervisor, and they told her to take the master key and go find out what was happening, to go into the hotel, so to the hotel room. So when she got there, she found the girl dead. She was tied up. Her legs were tied up. Her hands were tied up. She was just laying horizontally on the bed. Her legs were on the floor. Her hands were to her back. They just saw her. She was just there lying dead. So she quickly rushed down to call people in charge of the hotel, and they informed the police. When they informed the police, they checked the CCTV camera and they saw the two guys that were with her. Then the hunt started. Now, when Miss Cynthia got to Lagos, she actually did call her mother and told her mother that she was in Lagos. She was trying to buy goods. So the mother, when she got to Lagos, she called her and said, "I've arrived Lagos." So the next day, the mother kept calling. Her phone wasn't going through. So she kept trying until like the 6th day. Someone picked up the phone and told her that her child had been kidnapped. That they need 20 million naira to bail the child. So the natural instinct of the mom was to ask if the girl was alive, and they told her that she was alive, but she needed to send the money. Now 20 million was too much for her, so she informed the police, and they traced the call to Festac Town. Now Festac Town is a city in Lagos, and apparently they lodged in a hotel called the Cosmelia Hotel in Festac Town. So yeah, when they informed the police connected 2 and 2 together, and they called the mom to come and identify a body that was sent to the morgue, on the 22nd of July 2012. So the mother came in, identified her daughter. It was actually her daughter. So investigation started. I think the police then put out the faces of these killers, in the news, and a lot of women, about 6 of them, came out and said they had encountered these said men and they were robbed of their things, but obviously they were not killed. So the search started. Not shortly, these guys were caught and apprehended, and what sealed the deal was the receptionist had to go and identify the guys, that they were actually guys that lodged with Miss Cynthia. So two people plus another 4 people were nabbed by the police. The driver who drives these guys to rob and steal, their cousin who sell these properties that they have stolen, and also, yeah, there is more to the story. Apparently, when she got into the hotel, they offered her a drink. Miss Cynthia, she was offered a drink that was laced with a drug. So the drug didn't really work. So they arrested the pharmacist that sold that drug, because that drug was not allowed to be taken without a prescription. So the pharmacist who sold them the drugs were arrested. When they were the younger one, which is Ezike, he started talking. He made a tape and confessed that they actually killed the girl, brought some evidence from his laptop and his phone, showed them the chains they used in tying this girl up, and how they strangled her. Now, when they interrogated the older one, he denied everything and said he knew nothing about it. So they were taken to court. About 6 people were taken to court. So now they were in court. Obviously, they denied everything, but at some point, they confessed to the crime. Now, after much interrogation, much investigation, the walls were just closing in on them, so they had no choice but to confess to the crime. So they said they invited the girl over to Lagos. That's the full story from them. When she got to Lagos, they lodged her into a hotel and started probing her for money, for cash. Apparently she didn't have money on her. She doesn't have an ATM card, so she always has a checkbook. They found out that she didn't have as much money as they thought she had, the way she portrayed it online, that she was a businesswoman. So they proceeded to raping her and eventually killing her. The autopsy they did on her showed that she was strangled to death, that the drugs they gave to her actually didn't kill her. She was strangled to death. They found that her mouth was stuffed with hair and taped. The hands were tied with a chain and padlocked. The legs were tied together. She was basically strangled to death, and they found bite marks on her body. That was how she died. So it took a lot of years, like 2 years plus. This case was in court. So eventually, the other 3 people were acquitted. They were released and on bail, actually, because they did not commit the murder. But these other 2 people were actually sentenced to death by hanging. They were hung for killing this poor girl that they met on Facebook. And story had it that this girl was actually stalked and groomed for 4 months. They were really trailing her and grooming her for 4 months. So in essence, the essence of this story is that a lot of us take a lot of risk. I remember when I started dating newly, I was in the university when social media came. I have gone out on some dates with people I had met on Facebook. That was quite dangerous, but it's something we used to do at that time. But now, I don't do that anymore. How to really know a person, the person has to actually travel to be, and we meet in a very neutral place before I decide to, take an extra step towards any relationship. But the story is quite sad, really, really sad, that a young, promising, bright girl's life was just taken away like that, just because of a lot of people's greed and, greed for money. Not everyone who come around and say they are friends are actually friends. So we need to be careful. This happened like a long time ago, but it's still relevant in today's society. I was on Facebook I got an offer to hang out with a group of people. They were saying that they needed girls to hang out with them. They had like a huge party, and the money they were offering was quite tempting. But then I remember that I was in Nigeria, and you know, things can happen, and a lot of women die every day. Like, I had a friend that we served together, but we didn't serve in the same stage. But we traveled together to where we did our youth service, and when we redeployed, I redeployed to Bayelsa State. She redeployed to a Boeing State. And she was just murdered, just like that. So we need to be careful and really get to know the people we are dealing with, and take my life seriously. So that's the end of the story, guys. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Toodaloo!